So very good morning. In our previous class, we have started the introduction to waveguide. I have shown you the physical waveguide, and we have also seen the difference between the waveguide and the transmission line. We have also discussed the different mode, uh, TEM, TE and TM mode. We have also discussed in our previous class that why TEM mode does not exist in waveguide, and at last we have seen that what is the TEMN or TMMN. So what actually indicates that subscript M and N. So we have seen that in a waveguide either TE or TM mode will exist, and its different combinations may exist. So today specifically, let us start the rectangular waveguide. So as I mentioned earlier also that there are mainly two types of the very common, mainly two type of the cross section, either the rectangular or the circular can be used to manufacture or to construct the waveguide. So in a rectangular waveguide, now based on its cross sections, we can say that it is a hollow metallic tube with a rectangular cross sections. As you know now the structure of the waveguide, there are some conducting walls. So these conducting walls of the guide actually confines the EM field, and hence it will guide the EM wave through that waveguide. Now let me clear one point that here the function, the energy which is going to flow through the waveguide does not flow through the conducting wall, but it actually propagates through the dielectric, for example, air as a medium. Then in that air as a medium, the energy or EM field will travel. So as we have already seen that a number of the distinct field configurations, or I can say that the modes, can exist in a waveguide. So when the wave travel through the guide, so now you know that plane wave actually will enter into the waveguide, and this plane wave are reflected from wall to wall. So this process result in components of either E and H field in the direction of the propagation of that resulting wave. So what will happen because of this reflection of that EM wave uh, through the air, and because of that conducting walls, the now plane wave will not remain plane wave, but either it will resolve into the some another component of that E and H field, and that is called either TE wave or TM wave. So I can say that now there will be no longer of the TEM wave exist in a waveguide. So ultimately, any uniform plane wave in a lossless guide may be resolved into TE or TM wave. So now from that uniform plane wave or that TEM wave, now we will get either any one mode of the TE or any one mode of the TM waves. We have already seen that there is a dominant mode exhibits by any waveguide. So what is dominant mode? So we have seen in our last class also that if if the mode having a highest cutoff wavelength or the lowest cutoff frequency for that particular waveguide, then that mode will be considered as a dominant mode for that particular waveguide. So let me clear that here in this rectangular waveguide, for the TE mode, there is a TE10 mode, which is a dominant mode for the TE rectangular waveguide. Same way, for the TM wave, the TM11 mode will be the dominant mode for the rectangular waveguide. We will see the final. We will also derive this why we have considered this one. But at this moment, please remember that the TE10 and TM11 are the dominant mode in a rectangular waveguide. So please take care these two very important and fundamental concepts of the dominant mode. Now, as I mentioned, that whenever we feed the plane wave inside the waveguide, it resolves either in a TE or TM wave. So what will happen? So when one wavelength lambda is in the direction of propagation of that incident wave, what will happen? Now that lambda will not remain a operating wavelength, but because of these conducting sidewalls, there are mainly two components exist, and one component we can consider as a normal to that reflecting plane, and one component we will consider as a parallel to the plane. So now there will be not single lambda, but we have a lambda n, where lambda n is a thing but the normal to the reflecting plane, and there will be a lambda p, which is a thing but the parallel to that reflecting plane. So let me show you from figure, so that each and every one may have the idea. So for that, let me once again stop this part. Can you see the screen now? Camera view. Can you see this camera view? Please give me the answer, anyone? Yes or no? Can you see the camera mode?
Yes.
Hello? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. 1 minute. Huh? Can you see the screen? Yes or no? Okay. So what will happen here? Hmm? That from this figure, you can very easily understand that now this one is here one of the lambda which is entering inside the guide. This is your one of the side walls. This one is also one of the side walls. So whenever any wave which is having a some operating wavelength lambda enter into this guide, so as figure indicates that this plane wave, uniform plane wave, reflecting over these side walls in this way zigzag manner. So for example, if this is the angle of incident, then you will get the the this way the reflection. So this is what happened, that as I mentioned that now because of the side walls, the operating wavelength now will not become a single lambda, but there are two main component of that lambda. So here, if this is the angle of reflection theta, then this you will consider as a normal component of that uh, a reflecting plane, and which is nothing but the lambda n. So I can say that now you have a two different wavelength component. One is called the normal to the reflecting plane, which is nothing but the lambda n, while we have another operating wavelength component, which is nothing now parallel to this uh, reflecting plane, which is nothing but the lambda p. So
Yes.
ultimately, we will get the we will see that we can see
Sir,
that now. Yes,
સ્ક્રીન ફ્લિપ દેખાય છે સર.
શું બતાય છે?
ફ્લિપ ફ્લિપ.
ફ્લિપ બતાય છે. Now, hello, can you see
નહીં સર, અપસાઇડ
now?
ડાઉન. ફ્લિપ સર, ફ્લિપ. ઓકે
Huh?
ઓકે સર.
Now it's fine.
યસ સર.
Okay, okay, fine. Okay. So this way, here you can see that there is a lambda, uh, which is nothing but the operating wavelength. But now it will resolve into the two component. One is called the normal to that plane, which is nothing but the lambda n, and there is another component which is nothing but the parallel component, which is nothing but the lambda p. So ultimately, I just want to convey that you will get here from this mathematical relations, you can see that the lambda n is nothing but normal to that reflecting plane. The lambda n is nothing but the lambda by cos theta, and by simple trigonometry we can conclude, and this lambda p is nothing but the lambda sin theta. So finally, we have now two uh, resolving component, one standing normal and one parallel to that wall. So now there is not only a one lambda wavelength of that impressed signals in an unbounded medium, but now we have a plane wave resolving into the two wave, which is called the lambda n and lambda p. So ultimately, I just want to convey that now we have a uh, such a uh, field which either you consider as a TE or TM field or a waves. So this is the way that you can conclude that now there is not a TEM wave present inside the guide. So now the next objective is what, that uh, what is the TE wave inside the rectangular waveguide? So what is the solution of these wave equations in a rectangular coordinates? So this is our objective. So for that case, let me show you first of all the actual waveguide. So here you can see that in our previous class also I have shown you this rectangular waveguide, which is having a, this one is a broader side, this one is your narrow side, and you consider that this axis as a propagating direction. So let me consider, for example, let me consider this one is your x-axis, this one is your y-axis, then this axis will be considered as a z-axis. So ultimately, let me show you from this now from my book that this one is your x-axis, this one is your y-axis, and there is a 3D print. There is a 3D print which actually show you the minus z-axis. Okay. So what is our objective now? So our objective here, one minute, let me zoom out so that okay, fine. So now what is our objective? Our objective is to find out the solutions either in time domain or frequency domain for the each wave equations. So which are the wave equations? So I think I have already explained you that in our last class we have discussed the two main equations which can be existed. So here these are the two E and H field equations. So this one is nothing but your delta square E is equal to gamma square E, and the second equation is nothing but the delta square H, that is nothing but our gamma square H. So in our last class also we have discussed that these are the two major wave equations in a frequency domains, which actually can be used to characterize the E and H field inside the waveguide. So these are uh, the wave equations which actually obeys the Maxwell equations. So here particularly we have seen that the this gamma is the thing but our propagation constant, and generally it will be considered as a having a alpha plus j beta. So it means that it is a complex number, and the depending upon the gamma value you can judge that how much attenuation present, that alpha present, and what is the phase constant beta. So here, as I mentioned that in our electromagnetic class also we have seen that this gamma is nothing but alpha plus j beta, and this gamma in terms of the mu and in terms of the epsilon is related as the square root of the j omega mu in bracket sigma plus j omega epsilon. So here the omega is the thing but the angular frequency, mu is the thing but the permeability of that medium, and epsilon is the thing but the permittivity of the medium, and the sigma is the conductivity of that medium. So ultimately, what is our objective? Here, our objective is to find out the the solution of these two equations. These are the two equations, and our objective is to get the two equations which are the solution of this wave equation. So, in I think all of you aware that in our uniform plane wave case, we have find out the solution of the this type of the equation. The same way here also we have to find out the solution of this wave equation, but in a rectangular waveguide. So for solving these equations, let me give you that. Let us we add one variable here. So this variable, let me replace. So what I did first of all, that I replaced this E and H by some psi signal. So here now I can say that now we have uh, one new wave equations which will be considered as a complex scalar wave equations, where the psi is one of the variable that I replace instead of the E field and the H field. And now I will try to get the solution of this equation number 1. Okay, so this is the final rectangular component of the E and H field, which actually satisfy the complex wave equations or this Helmholtz equation. So our objective now is to get the solution of this equation number 1. So how to solve this? So which are the way to solve these equations? So for that case, I can say that what we will do, because here there is a rectangular shape, and what we assume also that let whatever the field component present inside this rectangular waveguide are independent from each other. What does it means? It means that suppose whatever the x variations that you are getting, whatever the y variations that you are getting, whatever the z variation that you are getting, they all variables or whatever the variations are independent from each other. So if this this is our necessary and sufficient conditions. So if we have that kind of the independent field exist inside this waveguide, then there is a one technique. It is called the separation of variable method. So using this separation of variable method, and if these x variations y and z three component are independent, in that case we can use the separation of variable method, and we can get the individual component of in terms of the x, in terms of the y, and in terms of the z. So how to solve using the separation of variable method. So let us see the solution of this equation 1 using a separation of variable method. So here I think all of you now have aware about this equation number 2, which actually nothing but the same as our 1. So everything I have represented in terms of the partial differentiation. So here this del square sigma is now nothing but the gamma square sigma can be expressed same as the del square sigma by del x square plus del square sigma by del y square plus del square sigma by del z square, and that is nothing but equal to gamma square sigma. So this is the same as our one, only I replace now I replace equivalently that delta square is nothing but in our left side. So now what I can say that, as I mentioned, that now because this equation is a linear and inhomogeneous partial differential equations, uh, uh, and if we will assume that these each and every three variables are x, y, and z are independent, then I can say that the solution of this equation will become like this. So this I can say that the final solution. So solution is nothing but what? Solution is nothing but the sigma that we are looking. We are looking the sigma, which is nothing but our solution. So solution is nothing but it can have the in this type of the form. So where capital X in bracket X, capital Y in bracket Y, there is a capital Z in bracket Z. So what does it actually indicates? તો આનો મતલબ એવો થાય કે જે સિગ્મા કે જે આપણે શોધી રહ્યા છીએ કે જે આ ઇક્વેશન નંબર 1 કે 2 નું સોલ્યુશન છે એ બીજું કંઈ નહીં પરંતુ xx yy and zz છે, where capital X, capital Y and capital Z are nothing but that I can say that the separation of variable method ની અંદર યુઝ કરેલા વેરિયેબલ છે અને x, y and z are nothing but the coordinate values, either in x direction, y direction or z direction. So I can write that here the xx of x is nothing but a function of x coordinates only. એટલે કે હવે શું થયું કે જે સોલ્યુશન છે એ ત્રણ કમ્પોનન્ટ ઉપર આધારિત છે. એક તો કે ભાઈ ફંક્શન ઓફ x કોઓર્ડિનેટ્સ, y of y is nothing but a function of y coordinate, and z of z is nothing but the કહી શકાય કે function of z coordinates. So it means what? That ultimately તમારી પાસે હવે ત્રણ ફંક્શન્સ આવ્યા. જો એ તમને ત્રણ ફંક્શન્સનું સોલ્યુશન ખબર હોય તો અલ્ટિમેટ સિગ્માનું સોલ્યુશન મળી જાય. અને because we know that these all three are independent from each other, now it is very easy to calculate this x of x, y of y and z of z using a separation of variable technique. So let us see that part. So for that case, now what is the solutions? So what we will do that suppose you substitute this equation number 3. Are you getting? If you put this equation number 3 into this 2, then it means that the sign you are replacing. જ્યાં જ્યાં sign છે બરોબર, જો હું ત્યાં આ x of x, y of y અને z of z મૂકી દઉં અને જો હું પાર્શિયલ ડિફરન્શિએશન છે એ યુઝ કરું તો I can say that બીજું કંઈ નહીં પરંતુ it will become now the now, because now earlier it was dependent upon the individual x, y, z component in this equation, but now because here this x, y and z are independent of each other, so partial differential equation becomes the differential equations. So now you will get the equations which is nothing but 1 over capital X d square. Now it is not the partial, it is now a differential equation. So it will become 1 over x d square x by dx square plus 1 over y d square y by dy square plus 1 over z d square z divided by dz square, and that is nothing but equal to gamma square. So now you can see that now I have such a expressions which actually give you the in the form of the differential equations. So earlier the equation number 2 was the partial differentiation equation, but because of the these three variables are independent of each others, we have derived the differential three equations. Even we know that these are the three major individual relations. So there is not depending upon the x on the y on the z, or z on the x, or z on the y. So if we can find out the individual equation solution of this 1 over x d square x by dx square, then simply by adding the solution to the individual ones, we can find out the final solution of this sigma, which is nothing but our final interest of the solutions. So let us now try to solve the individual equations. Then what we will get. So now let me now, as I mentioned that let me show you this part, that what will happen here, that earlier when you try to solve the equations 1 minute, hold. So as the this 1 over x d square x by dx square, 1 over y d square y by dy square, plus 1 over z d square z by dz squared, that is equal to gamma square. So each term here is independent variable and constant. So what we assume that let we are adding, now we are introducing the three components. હવે આપણે શું કરીએ છીએ, તમે અહીંયા જોઈ શકો છો કે મેં શું કર્યું. What I did here, 1 minute hold. હું અહીંયા આ જે ઇક્વેશન છે આમની જગ્યાએ I replaced by the kx square. Are you getting? હું આ આખા ટર્મ બરાબર d square x by dy dx square છે. So what I put here, I replace all this equation equivalently to the minus kx square. Same way I will replace this whole equation by minus ky square. હું ખાલી વેરિયેબલ યુઝ કરું છું, બરાબર, કેમ કે મારે પ્રોબ્લેમનું સોલ્યુશન લાવવું છે. સેમ વે અહીંયા આ જે થર્ડ ઇક્વેશન છે, થર્ડ જે ટર્મ છે, એમને હું રિપ્લેસ કરું છું બાય માઇનસ કે ઝેડ સ્ક્વેર. તો શું બની જશે, આના બરાબર બની જશે માઇનસ કે એક્સ સ્ક્વેર માઇનસ કે વાય સ્ક્વેર માઇનસ કે ઝેડ સ્ક્વેર, ધેટ ઇઝ ઇક્વલ ટુ ગામા સ્ક્વેર. તો મેં એ જ વસ્તુ અહીંયા લખી છે. તો ઇક્વેશન 5 you can see that is nothing but now nothing but the same as our equation number 4. So now I have a new equations which is called the minus kx square minus ky square minus kz square. So these are the now I have used the different constant terms. So these terms are nothing but our kx square, ky and kz square. And now we are trying to find out the solution of this kx square, ky and kz square. So what is the solution? તો આપણે ઇન્ડિવિજ્યુઅલ એક એકનું સોલ્યુશન જોઈએ. તો હવે આમનું જનરલ સોલ્યુશન જોતું હોય તો આ ડબલ ડિફરન્શિયલ ઇક્વેશન છે, તો એનું સોલ્યુશન શું આવે? તો ઓલ ઓફ યુ અવેર that is nothing but કે હવે d, કેમ કે તમે જુઓ તો અમે ઇક્વલન્ટલી લખેલું છે. So I can say that d square x by dx square will become minus kx square into x. So same way this will become our d square y by dy square is nothing but the minus ky square into y. Same way d square z by dz square, that is nothing but our equal to minus kz square into z. And now we want this is the one of the form is in such a way that we are looking the solution of this x, y and z. જો એક વખત આપણને x, y અને z નું સોલ્યુશન મળે તો આપણે એવું કહી શકીએ કે તો અલ્ટિમેટલી આપણે સિગ્મા કે જે આપણે જોઈ રહ્યા હતા એમનું સોલ્યુશન મેળવી શકીએ. તો આઈ થિંક નાવ ઓલ ઓફ યુ, તમે મેથેમેટિક્સનો ક્લાસ જેમને શીખ્યો હોય એમને ખબર હશે કે ધીસ ઇઝ વન ઓફ ધ ટાઈપ ઓફ ધ ડબલ ડિફરન્શિયલ ઇક્વેશન્સ. તો આ પ્રકારનું જે ઇક્વેશન્સ હોય કે જ્યાં કે એક્સ સ્ક્વેર, કે વાય સ્ક્વેર એન્ડ કે ઝેડ સ્ક્વેર આર નથિંગ બટ સમ કોન્સ્ટન્ટ ટર્મ્સ, and this is your x is nothing but your one of the variable, and x is nothing but your coordinate. For example, y is your coordinate, z is your coordinate variable. Then this equation number 6, આ જે ત્રણ equation છે can have the solution in the form of this equation number 7. તો 7 નું સોલ્યુશન આવી ગયું છે. તો જો તો what is the solution? So all of you now know that what is the solution of this. For example, upper one, આ x નું સોલ્યુશન શું છે? તો x is nothing but now તમે મેથેમેટિક્સના ક્લાસમાં all of you have seen કે આ પ્રકારનું ડબલ ડિફરન્શિયલ ઇક્વેશન હોય તો સોલ્યુશન શું હોય? બે સોલ્યુશન હોય, એક સાઇન ટર્મ હોય, એક કોસ ટર્મ હોય. બીજું શું હોય કે there are some constant, કે જે કોન્સ્ટન્ટ છે એ તમે બાઉન્ડ્રી કન્ડિશનની મદદથી એ કોન્સ્ટન્ટ ટર્મને શોધી શકાતા હતા. તો અહીંયા પણ એવું જ થાય કે you will get the x will be nothing but the a sin, પછી કોઈક ઇન બ્રેકેટમાં કોઈક વેરિયેબલ ટર્મ હોય પ્લસ b cos ઇન બ્રેકેટ વેરિયેબલ ટર્મ. તો હવે આ વેરિયેબલ શું હોય? સો ઇટ ઇઝ નથિંગ બટ અવર કે ભાઈ જે ડાયરેક્શનમાં એમનું કોઓર્ડિનેટ સિસ્ટમ હોય. ફોર એક્ઝામ્પલ હિયર ધેર ઇઝ એક્સ વેરિએશન્સ, એક્સ કોઓર્ડિનેટમાં વેરિએશન છે. સો હિયર in our x variable, in x ના સોલ્યુશનમાં we will get the x variable. Same way અહીંયા there is a we know that here આ જ્યારે સોલ્યુશન કરવામાં આવે તો આ જે કમ્પોનેન્ટ હોય kx will be present here. તો અહીંયા ફાઇનલી તમે જ્યારે ડબલ ડિફરન્શિયલ ઇક્વેશનનું સોલ્યુશન કરો અને તમે મેથેમેટિક્સના કોઈ પણ બુક્સમાંથી તમે જ્યારે આનું સોલ્યુશન કમ્પેર કરશો તો you will get x is nothing but our a sin in bracket kxx plus b cos kxx. Same way y છે that will become, કેમ કે હું હવે નવો વેરિયેબલ યુઝ કરું છું એટલે c યુઝ કરું છું, તો c sin ky into y plus d cos in bracket ky into y. Same way z will be nothing but e, new variable, so e sin kz into z plus f cos k in bracket kz into z. So આનો મતલબ શું થયો? that ultimately now you have a solution of these three equations. This one and this one is nothing but x, y and z. And we know કે હવે આ ત્રણ છે એ પોતે પાછા ઇન્ડિપેન્ડન્ટ છે, તો એ ત્રણેયનું મલ્ટિપ્લિકેશન કરી દેવામાં આવે તો આપણને ફાઇનલ સોલ્યુશન સિગ્મા મળી જાય. કેમ કે અહીંયા તમે જો what we obtain, the final solution is nothing but કે જો તમને x of x, y of y અને z of z નું સોલ્યુશન મળી જાય તો that is nothing but our સિગ્મા નું સોલ્યુશન છે. and sigma is nothing but our કે જે આપણે ફાઇનલી કોનું શોધતા હતા તો કે ઇક્વેશન નંબર 1 કે 2 નું સોલ્યુશન શોધતા હતા એ જ છે. So what was our objective? Our objective here is to find out the solution of this sigma. The sigma શોધવા માટે આપણે શું કર્યું કે આપણે સેપરેશન ઓફ વેરિયેબલ મેથડ યુઝ કરી અને x of x, y of y અને z of z શોધવાનો પ્રયત્ન કર્યો. તો x આપણને શું મળ્યું તો કે ભાઈ જે 7 નંબરનું ઇક્વેશન છે એ આપણને x આપે છે. So here there is a x, there is a y, there is a z. તો આપણને અલ્ટિમેટલી શું મળ્યું તો કે સિગ્મા. તો સિગ્મા ઇઝ નથિંગ બટ અવર ફાઇનલ સોલ્યુશન એન્ડ ધેટ ઇઝ નથિંગ બટ ઇક્વલ ટુ કે ભાઈ બધાનું મલ્ટિપ્લિકેશન કરવામાં આવે આખું ટર્મ એમનું મલ્ટિપ્લિકેશન આ વાય આ લેફ્ટ સાઈડનું આ રાઈટ સાઈડનું જે ટર્મ છે એ ને મલ્ટીપ્લાય બાય ધીસ ઝેડનું જે રાઈટ સાઈડનું ટર્મિનલ ટર્મ છે એ. સો વોટ ડઝ ઇન્ડિકેટ? એકચ્યુઅલી we can say that now we have the final solution of these Helmholtz equations or wave equations in a rectangular coordinate system is nothing but this equation number 8. So this is our final solution of the wave equations in a rectangular coordinate system. હવે આ શું થયું? મેથેમેટિકલ સોલ્યુશન થયું. પરંતુ હું તમને હવે શું સમજાવું અને જે ખૂબ અગત્યનું છે કે આનો ફિઝિકલ મિનિંગ શું થાય, બરાબર છે? તો યસ, એનીવન હેવ એની ડાઉટ ફર્સ્ટ? So let me give you the physical meaning of these solutions. So physical meaning એ થાય કે જ્યારે what is our objective? The objective here is to find out the what is the E and H field inside this guide, and for that we have used the variable sign. So sign actually express the way in which this field reside in this rectangular waveguide. So for that case now we have three solutions. One is by how the in x direction field exhibits or field resides. How our in now the second how this field resides inside this y direction, how this field resides in this uh, z directions. So that will be given by these mathematical equations. So જે પહેલો part છે it actually indicates or describe the behavior of the E and H field inside the rectangular waveguide in x direction. જે બીજો પાર્ટ છે એ actually તમને એક્સપ્રેસ કરે છે કે the way in which the E field or H field resides in a y direction, and the third part છે which actually express that the how the E or H field resides inside the rectangular waveguide in z direction. તો અલ્ટિમેટલી તમે જુઓ કે અહીંયા વેરિયેબલ ઉપરથી પણ ક્લિયર થઈ જાય છે કે બ્રેકેટમાં ડિપેન્ડન્ટ વેરિયેબલ કયા કયા છે, એક તો કે kx ky and kz. તો આ જે kx ky અને kz છે that is called actually a cut off number. So જે cut off number છે which actually I will define, but here at this moment please remember these are considered as a cut off number, and depending upon the different mode you will get the different cut off numbers. So you will get the different value of the kx ky and kz, અને એ કોન્સ્ટન્ટ રહે એ મોડ માટે. અને અહીંયા બીજું વેરિયેબલ છે x y and z. તો હરેક એક્સપ્રેશનની અંદર ઇન બ્રેકેટની અંદર તમને x y અને z બતાય છે. So what does it indicate કે ભાઈ જ્યારે x નું વેરિએશન હોય ત્યારે તમને આ પહેલું ઇક્વેશન કામ આવશે, y નું વેરિએશન કરો તો બીજું ઇક્વેશન છે એ તમને સોલ્યુશન આપે છે, અને z નું વેરિએશન હોય z ડાયરેક્શનનું વેરિએશન હોય ત્યારે તમને થર્ડ ઇક્વેશન તમે આપે છે સોલ્યુશન. સો ધીસ મીન્સ ધ ફિઝિકલી સિગ્નિફિકન્સ એવું કહેવાય કે જો તમને કોન્સ્ટન્ટ કટ ઓફ વેવ નંબર ખબર હોય, અને જો તમને ઇફ યુ નો હવે એક વખતે ખબર પડી જાય અને એમાં આ ઇન્ડિવિજ્યુઅલ ઇક્વેશનની અંદર તમે એ વેલ્યુ મૂકી દો, અને સાથોસાથ આ જે A, B, C, D, E and F, which are nothing but the constant terms which can be calculated using a boundary condition ની મદદથી તમે જો ફાઇન્ડ કરી દો, then you will get the final field behavior inside this rectangular waveguide. So yes, anyone have any questions please ask. આપણે જ્યારે પ્લેન TEM વેવ જોયો હતો ત્યારે આ પ્રકારનું કટ ઓફ વેવ નંબર હતું નહીં, પરંતુ because કે કોએક્સિયલ કેબલ doesn't support any cut off wave number, પરંતુ વેવગાઇડમાં મેં તમને કીધેલું છે that there is a cut off frequency, there is a cut off wavelength, and if we have to propagate the wave inside the waveguide, then you have to use the minimum greater than that cut off frequency, or we have to feed the highest minimum lesser than that highest cut off wavelength. જો બેમાંથી એક આઈધર હાયર કટ ઓફ ફ્રીક્વન્સી કરતાં વધારે ઓપરેટિંગ ફ્રીક્વન્સી અથવા તો હાયર ઓપરેટિંગ વેવલેન્થ કરતાં ઓછું વેવલેન્થનું સિગ્નલ જ જો આમાં ફીડ કરવામાં આવે, then and then only wave will propagate inside the rectangular or circular waveguide. So is it clear? So yes, now I will stop here with this. Yes, anyone have any questions first, then we should ask. કેમ કે અત્યારે આટલું ઇનફ છે. આપણે આજના ક્લાસમાં we have seen the rectangular wave, we have seen the general solution of the solution of the Helmholtz or wave equations inside the rectangular waveguide. So any questions હોય, કોઈ questions હોય તો મને પૂછી શકો છો. So let me stop here first the recording. So thank you very much.